For this second episode, we have Professor Dr. Bushra. And to introduce what we're going to talk about with her, for some people, the breakup marks the beginning of a new form of violence. So, senior researcher Sophie Enze Pedersen, VIVE, the Danish Center for Social Science Research, interviews people who live or have lived with violence. In one of her interviews, she asks what those around them must need to understand in intimate partner violence. The answer was brutally clear. People don't understand that it continues. Violence rarely ends at separation, it changes shape into psychological pressure, digital harassment, control through children, finances, and or institutions. The afterlife of violence is real and widely overlooked. So now with Dr. Bushra Hanif, expert in violence against women and a returning guest in this series. Dr. Hanif, do you agree that violence continues in new forms after separation and that society often fails to recognize this?
Thank you so much, Frank, for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this podcast once again. And I will try to make my answers more precise this time. And the question you're asking is very important. So what happens is that violence often continues one breakup. People do tend to think that when you leave the perpetrator, you also leave the violence, but that's a false statement because everything is fundamentally about control. It's not only about the relationship itself, but it's about the control the perpetrator wants to uphold. So in my research and the framework I'm using, which is response-based practice, actually shows that when physical access to uphold this control has been lost, the controlling partner kind of shift to this more subtle and very distinct ways of controlling the partner. And this shift is something I think we need to talk more about because it actually comes after separation. And the control itself is coercive control, it's harassment, it's stalking, it's digital harassment, it's threats, it's financial, economical pressure, it's manipulating, it's dominating the other person still when the person has left the relationship. And these forms of control are less visible, but they are equally harmful. Let us not forget that. And this kind of control after, or the continuum of violence, it intensifies when the woman who has left the violent partner regains autonomy. And that is something the perpetrator cannot stand, that this woman actually is out, she's reclaiming the control, dignity, and she's doing everything she can to survive. So this is also what I call is a reassertion of power, not a moment of letting go, because it's so hard to let go when you are constantly harassed.
Thank you, Dr. Hanif. What does violence so often continue after the breakup? Just in new and less visible forms?
So it continues because, as I just told you, it's all about the control. Somehow you cannot uphold this control, which you have been doing since the relationship started. And when you lose control, Frank, what happens? You lose sense of everything. You want to regain the control you have over another person. And that is why these subtle forms of control, manipulation, harassment comes up to the surface. And this is also what I've been trying to find out in my dissertation, that like the physical violence is not, I won't say not as bad as the psychological violence, but psychological violence is almost just as bad as physical violence.
Okay. Why is it so important that stories of violence are shared openly?
So if you allow me, I would just answer this very important question with one sentence. And that is, because silence protects the perpetrator, not the victim. I know this is not like a fully answer, and I will continue, but it's just to underline the importance of the silence only protects the perpetrator. We need to go out there and talk about it. It's uncomfortable. I know it's not something you want to navigate in. It's a landscape full of lines. But we need to take into account what this silence does to the victims. So when women tell their stories, we see not only the resistance, we also see the responses to the violence that they have been subjected to. And these kind of forms of resistance come across as subtle forms of resistance, physical resistance, exploratory resistance, activating forms of action. It's not that a lot of people would say being passive. Oh, you did not leave this perpetrator. You are passive. You are weak. No. Sharing these stories will challenge these misconceptions which the society has built up. And sharing these stories will build collective knowledge, conceptions, and make everything more aware. It creates a space for social accountability, social responsibility. I, as a human being, have a responsibility to talk about things that are not comfortable talking about. But we have to do it in order to help the victims. My research also teaches us that these women's narrative is a source of truth, not something she just made up. It's a source of agency, dignity, is a source of contextualizing what happened when she was in this abusive relationship. So we need to speak up.
Okay. Why can it be difficult for family and friends to support a woman when she speaks about violence?
Oh, that's a hard question, actually. I think, like, what I have found out through my research is that people respond to what they hear, and people often respond with like confusion or disbelief. Like, I don't believe you. Do you have any proof that he hit you? Do you have any proofs he exposed you to psychological violence? It's not because they don't care. It's because they have a lack of the whole framework I'm trying to explore in my dissertation, also in my research. We have to make a framework where people can understand the size of violence. So these systemic myths we have about, oh, the violence was mutual, it's a mutual conflict, it's only underlining victim blaming. We should not victim blame, and we should not say, oh, these are private problems, or this is a mutual conflict, or she is crazy too, so if he hits her, she will hit him because she is crazy. No, these are misconceptions in our society around violence. So, like in my research, we will call these misconceptions negative social responses. So every reaction from others influences how women's safety and sense are enabled. We need to give positive social responses because I know this is not comfortable. I know people are afraid. They don't want to talk about that their friend is in an abusive relationship. Oh, is it my responsibility now that you have shared your narrative, your story, your experiences with me? Like, often people are insecure because we don't talk about it enough. But again, it's important for me to say as a researcher, it's not because they don't want to, it's because we systemically have not built up a framework to understand the size of violence.
Thank you. In Denmark, more than one woman per month is killed by a current or former partner, which is compared to France, if we had the same population, is 3 times what happened in France right now. What does this level of lethal violence tell us about the reality of partner violence today, and especially in Denmark?
That's a very sad thing, actually. And to be clear, it actually tells us that partner violence is not an individual problem. It's a structural one. And we need to also speak up about that. So the level of lethal violence shows us how dangerous a separation can be. You do not leave the violence when you physically leave one. But it's also important to see how deeply entrenched coercive control is, and the aftermath of the harassment is in these kind of relationships. And it also reflects on systemic gaps. We don't have consistency. We have a large amount of inconsistent protection. We don't protect the victims the way we should. It also is a lack of sufficient risk assessment. The risk assessments we use today, they are insufficient. Because if they were sufficient, we will not have one woman killed each month in Denmark. And also we have this societal minimization of, oh, this is non-physical. So that means if I cannot measure how much you have been subjected to violence, because I don't see bruises, I don't see your hair is torn apart, I don't see bones broken, then I cannot measure it. That's a wrong assumption. So when women make the activating move to leave, it is often the moment of the highest risk, Frank. Every researcher would tell you, the highest risk for a woman exposed to violence is the moment she decides to leave. And the biggest risk is in her own home. And data shows that clearly.
Okay. Last question. Is there research showing that women with minority or migrant backgrounds face racist or discriminatory system violence when seeking help or protection?
I'm really happy you asked me this question. It's a very important and it's a very relevant question. Yes. And my own research in Denmark confirms this question. So women with minority or migrant background often face structural discrimination in social services, police interaction, custody cases, judicial cases, cases where they are seeking child custody. They encounter these stereotypes about culture, ethnicity, religion, credibility, even risk, which shape how institutions actually respond. Sometimes with more suspicion instead of actually support and help. And that is a big problem. I have a whole chapter around systemic violence. And this is also the chapter I call like narratives of the system, because it is system violence. Harm is produced not only by the perpetrator alone, but by the systems that are actually meant to protect. And that is why my research helps us identify these patterns and center the woman's dignity firstly, then her resistance, and then the context when institutions fails her. I have done a very large exploratory work in disseminating what the system is not capable of. And this is this.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bushra Anif, for answering our question. And now we.
I hope it was good and enough and
No, it was perfect. And I think people are now good high and can see clearly the situation about women, especially women in Denmark, and especially women that are not white in Denmark.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And this is also something we do not tend to talk about because again, it's a landscape we don't want to navigate in.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you so much, Frank.
Thank you. In episode 2, we go into the part most people never see, the targeted lies. The system failures and our narrative can be weaponized to destroy someone long after the abuse ends. And that's will be really interesting. Short and interesting. So we had 4 claims in the episode 1. So this is the 5th claim, episode 2. So the 5th claim is she's just bitter and out for revenge. Some people have said that you're only speaking now because you're bitter or seeking revenge. What do you say to that?
I say if that was about revenge, I would have spoken the minute my name and my kid's identity were exposed. Podimo contacted me before, and I answered politely and legally. I told them that I couldn't comment because we have an active court case and I was recovering from a bleeding in the brain. And I also said if they wanted an answer, they had to wait. And they published it anyway because they had never planned to get my side of the story, fully aware of the legal and medical situation. Earlier during the drug case, my ex also reported for I had a brain hemorrhage, like I said before, and we talked about it. He claimed I was faking it, and he repeated it in the podcast, even though the hospitals here in France documented it. That was like the level of gaslighting I was dealing with, and no one ever questioned it. So when the podcast came out, he didn't stay anonymous. He got booked for an interview at it's called Good Morning Denmark. They blurred his face, but he's pretty big, and people know his voice and his character from his music career and network. And even the Danish minister, Sofie Hestrup, she went on air and praised that he had the custody without seeing any documents. And while the case was still active, our lawyer informed her, not pt2, that knew about it. That is the public validation of his version that made it impossible for me to defend myself without being attacked. And all this happened. I was doing something else. I created like a concept manual in 21. We filmed it during lockdown while I was at crisis center. It was called That is How You Survive an Abusive, what we call relationship. It wasn't about exposing anyone. It was meant to help others survive what we lived through. So if I wanted attention, that would have been the moment. And later, he also claimed that DR had removed me from the project, and I lied about it. And that was false because the producer confirmed with me that they never discussed project with him, and he contacted them, and not the other way around. And they honored the NDA we had signed. They didn't speak with him about it. And the journalist Christopher Eriksen also tried to discredit the documentary by harassing the former chairwoman and a friend of mine from Danish Women's Society, which supported me during the release. Sorry. And the team even offered me shelter because there was a lot of violence, what you call escalating, around the release. Christopher recorded a call with the woman, and he released it with her full name, even after she said she didn't want him to use it and he had no right. She was then harassed on Reddit and social media. An innocent woman that helped other victims was turned into a target. He also tried to harass a friend of mine that testified, and also the police officer that helped me back then. He tried to discredit his statement in court too. So people think I refused to speak. I didn't. I just followed the law and the doctors. I did not want to comment publicly while the proceeding was like active, and I respected that. I lost jobs because of the podcast, and I was and I'm still am harassed online, and then I am still harassed on the streets today and online every day. And my children's names, their schools, addresses were all exposed on internet, which we have secret address, which were given but no use now. So all the trolls online used his words to attack me and my family, and that's not revenge, that is like trying to survive on the public smear. For years we paid lawyers alone, I covered debt he let me in, and I just tried to work. While he was out telling his version, we were in courtrooms, hospital, and crisis meetings. So I would say that I stayed silent longer than of anyone you would expect to be in my situation. So I'm not speaking now to punish him, I'm speaking because the silence didn't protect us anymore. And his story is still repeated to this day by people who hide behind this screen and don't know facts about violence. So
The thing that is really important is to see if you show the Good Morning Denmark show, you see, oh, sorry for people they are like overweight, but he is overweight, you can see it. And if you make the calculation and you found her Insta or her social media, because you guys love to harass people, you can see the difference of metabolism, if I can say. So how she was violent to him? That's my question. How? And big as he is, why he didn't leave? Why he didn't leave? The same question you asked to her, you should ask to him too. Why he didn't leave? She answered Podimo professionally and cited legal restrictions. The new case was active and still published. They received there was like a paper from the French court that said there is a case active. It's just the number that was blurred for a reason simple is like it cannot have access to the case until the procedure is finished. The fact like they ignore that or they think she was bluffing is extremely hilarious, or like maybe they're so narcissist then they believe they control the world. We don't know. During the drug case, she suffered a brain hemorrhage that was medically confirmed, yet he publicly called it fake. Excuse me, guys, but one of the hospitals is the American hospital. Like all the biggest stars in France go in that hospital. That hospital is got a reputation. You really think that hospital will risk their reputation for a woman from Denmark for what? Or she can afford that? You're sure about that? You should go on their website. You will see if someone can afford to have a fake statement from them. Seriously. pt2 platformed him while a minister commented in his favor without seeing the file. She didn't see nothing. This is your politician. Didn't know anything about the case. She just believed the TV like you. It's like you are home, a TV says something, and you have like, you think this or you think that. Imagine a politician use the same BS as you. This is insane. There is no politician, a professional one, that will use the energy for that. Yuli created a DR manual to help survivors instead of exposing him. It later lied about her being removed from that project. The producer confirmed that never happened, and we have the text about it. Her silence came from the legal limits, medical reality and harassment, not revenge. And that's something people have to understand. Like, we're not like in the Clash, is not a rap battle. There is a kid's life in danger in it. And he didn't think about it when he went in the podcast. And especially because he thought she will never fight back. That's pure narcissist how they are. Claim 6, she lost custody because she was not capable of being a mother. A lot of people assume that if a mother loses custody, something must have been seriously wrong with her. In your case, what actually happened?
You know, when people hear that you lost the case, you automatically think something was proven about me, or what happened, or, you know, you think bad things, which I get, but it was not what happened. It was very structural system violence and the failure and exhaustion. Like we talked about it before, and I will go to details now. The professional around my youngest, the school staff, family workers, like myself, I'm also a what do you call it?
A professional?
Yeah, a family therapist. I go to families, shelter workers. They all said I was doing a very good job, especially considering the trauma we're coming from. They saw progress and stability. And they didn't say my daughter wasn't safe with me. And one of the strongest confirmations came when I had to leave to the crisis center. It's called fritidshjem in Denmark. It's like a public, place where kids can go after school. A pedagogue there who previously worked at a crisis center, he took me aside several times because he saw the signs, and he helped me to handle the false claim. Yes, Pablo, I heard you. There was a lot of claims against me, so he helped me handle them, and he also informed me every time there was some, and he informed the social worker too. He knew the truth, and he made sure to document everything, including how my former friend coordinated with my ex to make me look unstable by calling me schizophrenic and claiming I wasn't on my medication. She also testified in court on that and repeated it in the podcast. We will go in details with that later. Both the fritidshjem, as I call it, and the school had actually reacted earlier, like in 2018 and 19. They called us in for a meeting because my daughter had said that her dad drives drunk and that mom has to die. So other children had repeated that to their parents, and the word spread. And my ex was, of course, furious because his image of the perfect father was now cracked. So instead of addressing what the children had said, like an adult, why do you say that? Where does it come from? He attacked me. He went online and publicly humiliated me in the parents' class group, calling me mental ill and unstable. I was angry and humiliated and shocked, but I was also terrified what he would do next. So I talked to the teacher, and that she had shared some info about me, which for first of all was confidential, if I had been mental ill, and that it was not okay. He used a pain disease I have called fibromyalgia, and shared also that with the parents without my consent to make me look unstable. The teacher apologized, of course, but the damage was done. The other parents saw him as the perfect dad. And this was before it all of this shitstorm that is here now happened. And it's also documented the statements that dad drives drunk. A kid don't say that. I just want to be clear, if you have an education in kids' behavior, kids cannot repeat a lie. Mm-hmm. They are not that clever. Mm-hmm. So if the kid keeps saying that continuously, dad hit mom or mom hit dad, and they don't change the story, they are not being manipulated. Kids tell the truth, and they are not capable to lie that good. Mm-hmm. And you can look it up. So it shows how far the pattern goes back, like long before this media shit. So the shift came at the very end when the psychologist we talked about before used the assessment, and we were in a system that were already worn down. Nothing was based on evidence in the end. It was based on exhaustion. I can't pronounce that.
Exhaustion?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mine and the system. My kid was scared and crying and didn't want to go. So instead of asking why, they blamed me. They wrote I was alienating my child without acknowledging the years of harassment, violence, and repeated concussions and burnout, and the fact that I was all alone fighting all this. And debt and legal battle that he came initiating. So to use the outdated assessment model, the one that later got discredited in a Greenlandic case also, where they took away the kid and apologized and gave back later. I objected in writing. As a trained pedagogue, I knew this method, and I knew it's outdated, and many professionals shared the same opinion as me. So she used it anyway, and then my answers were too perfect. So you can't win. So we filed a formal complaint, which the system acknowledged, but it came too late because they already used it against me. Mm-hmm. So, and they don't take up, like so many families I work with, I learned that corrections don't undo the outcome. The state don't care. So the system is not built for complicated cases or people who fight back or women who don't fit the stereotype, silent, broken victim. The Danish system looks for compliance. And people don't know what it takes to understand, you don't just lose a case, or you lose the ability to function like a normal person, because this is your new normal, and it's not normal. I can tell you that. Like every 8 bucks, every phone call, every time you open your door, your body go to the freeze or what, flight mode.
Freeze mode.
Freeze or flight. Like you prepare yourself for the next blow. Is it a lawsuit, a false report, a hearing? Well, what do I have to pay for? Or do I get attacked? Do I get hit? Do I go to the hospital? Even when I'm at hospital today, nurses come and they take me aside. Like, you experience it too? They come and say very quiet, do you need help? Because the violence is so well documented. So even doctors and nurses know to quietly ask me if I need help. That says something, I think. So I have to stay ahead of everything, every rumor, every filing, every character assassination. And it takes, like a lot of, energy that women don't have left after abuse. Like inhuman amounts of energy, money and resources. So you don't just lose a custody battle, you lose your life. And I lost because the system was tired, and structural racists and harassment and the misinformation shaped the story before the facts were even heard. So that is how the system works with a lot of cases, unfortunately.
Okay. Her oldest child was never deemed at risk by any authority. And this is something that is really specific and clear because Podimo, they made a lot of episodes, a lot. And from the beginning, I was questioning that there is 2 kids. One is not his. Why will you never talk about that? And why no one talked to the father to verify if this father got a problem with Yuli?
My ex actually talked to him and told him I was crazy. So.
What? Oh yeah. But Jesper talked to him, and said she is crazy. But he verified by himself that she is not actually, she gone on vacation with her daughter. They had no problem with the father, no problem. And the justice never came in their business, which is very funny because how you give a decision without seeing that. Anyway. For the youngest, multiple professionals documented safety and stability, including a pedagogue with crisis center experience who handled face reports and confirmed no concerns. The negative conclusion came from one psychologist at the final stage. Not because of danger, and like we saw in the first episode, it was because of your exhaustion, misinformation, and system bias. And also because apparently she was too pretty to be a victim. A former complaint confirmed serious errors, but the correction came after the decision had already been made. And the fact that saying, like, I'm from France, sorry guys, and I know in other countries we're the same. You cannot use the physics to determine who is a victim or not. But we made a study in France because we have a lot of different ethnicities. We made a study, and we realized in this study that even people not white, are biased by what they see. That's what we are working on in France, for example. Like, for example, if you come with black and your face look like in the head of everyone criminal, you are charged more than a white person that did the same crime as you. So this structural racism is now people racism because people now put label on different one. That means by your label, you can escape the justice or being sentenced by the justice. And what I talk about this study that came from France television and a lot of specialists is also because that shows that the system in Denmark is also biased by what they see. He is fat, he look, how you can say, he look weak. So of course, when he cry, you believe him. But the woman, she don't cry because in the study, you can see in the first episode, the professor, Dr. Anif said it. They freeze. So it's their survival mode. That's why they cannot cry. They cannot cry on command. They're not fake. They freeze. They try to survive. So they are like a robot. They just say what they have to say, and a lot of time without no emotion because they are in trauma. But the justice don't want to follow that and prefer to believe someone who is playing actor, like in the podcast. He's like his tone in the podcast is a controlled tone, like a narcissist. The controlled tone of the narrative and when put the emotion when I can, when I don't, etc. With the journalist that is an accomplice with it because he never put him in a bad position. Claim 7, she's lying or doing this for attention. People say you're exaggerating or making this up now to get attention. What do you respond?
I just love other people's opinions. Yeah, like I said before, if I wanted any attention, I would have spoken up the minute all our names and identity were exposed. I remain silent while people call me crazy and spread lies about me, also face to face and in courtrooms. And everything I'm talking about now was already documented and reported long before this podcast was made. There are medical scan, police file, psychological assessment, legal records, you name it. So it's not news for me. I'm just no longer silent. And the my ex, he knew exactly how serious it was, and he repeat, like we talked about in the podcast, that my brain injury is convenient during a trial. Yes, I went down and gave myself a brain bleeding, like I invented it to avoid the court, and paid doctors, and psychologists, and therapists. Like also said, the hospital here in Paris is one of the best in Europe, and also a Danish neurologist and heart doctors confirmed it. And they also said that they made a lot of medical declaration and warning the court, Podimo, everyone that legal stress and stress in general will make it worse. So instead of taking that serious, they used it against me to make me look, dishonest, and that's a heavy level of gaslighting you're up against when you are portrayed as lying about that. So people think I created a story or exaggerated, but the truth is that he created it years before I left. That is what abusers do. They destroy the credibility. So no one believes you when you leave, which is super clever actually. You gotta give them that. So by the time I was in the shelter, I was unstable in everyone's eyes. I was just the last one to know. So I never wanted the media. I never wanted Podimo or pt2 to contact me, and other medias too. I chose not to speak and give Podimo more light because they don't deserve it. So it wasn't a strategy to be silent, it was a survival mode. So I am not seeking attention. I am just doing the damage control after being gagged, harassed, and medically injured. So people can call me a liar because they never seen a document, because they kept everything very close to us, the family. They just repeated his version, loud enough for long enough for people to believe it.
Before the next claim, there is one moment that explains the pattern better than any document ever could. He had thrown a party one night in November 2019. Early the next morning, Yuli and Jesper came to his office. Jesper was still high and drunk. You can see both of them on the surveillance footage. It's the same episode everyone keeps talking about, the one with the pictures. Maybe you, Yuli, will tell the story better than me.
I hate this episode. Okay, on video you can see him take MDMA, which is a drug and illegal, and you can see.
Which he said like
We
in the.
can take that later.
Yeah.
It will make sense.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry to interrupt you.
And he's fully aware of what it is, also the way he eat it. It is also written in an ambulance report. You can also see he gets aggressive, and on camera you can see me shout and look for drugs and trying to stop him. And you can see we go into a studio that used to belong to his former artist, and there's no camera there. And yes, I will not go in detail about that. Sorry. He was. I don't know if you can tell it. I don't want to.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, take your time.
Like. So he starts screaming that his assistant is dangerous, and he's telling I have to poke holes in her pictures, which is what everyone talk about. And I can totally see if it was true, I would be totally fucked up, yes. With him, it's even you follow or you fight back, and fight back can end very, very bad. I already had iPhones smashed, holes in the door, that he funny enough called DIY on the podcast. And later, when my husband explained where the holes come from, he said, oh, he might hit one door. All the holes, not one, looked like a big fist. So no one questioned him either back then about lying and changed the story again. So, sorry, that was a detour. I go back to the episode now. So I just smile and play along because he was already heavy under the influence. And back in my stairwell, I lived in Nørrebro in Copenhagen, he collapsed on an MDMA overdose. So I call a hospital ambulance, call 112 in Denmark, and I cannot pronounce that. I gave him CPR until the ambulance arrived. I saved his life, not the other way around. And it's not the first time it happened, it was just the first time I was forced to call for help. So that morning I go straight to, funny enough, Good Morning Denmark in pt2, the same show he was on, with one of his former artists, the same artist who now has cut ties with him too. I hadn't slept, and after the show I went back to take care of him, because he was at the show, but he was sitting totally pale and could not function, just to show his face. And you still have to remind, I haven't slept there, and I have to play in the evening at a new club. So I go there and play. I also played for one of my good friend's birthday that evening. So while I'm performing, you can see the phone tick, 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 you know, where are you, fuck you, whore, whatever. And later in court, he also claimed that I had sent his assistant text messages the morning with the OD, saying she was fired and sold drugs. But the text messages came from his phone, not mine. And I was at a TV show. So I don't know how I could have done that. And this is also not the first time my father had found him unconscious. A lot of time at his office where he did all the raves, the orgies, whatever. So that was a normal day for me. And it shows the pattern, the drug use, the overdose, the chaos I was always left to clean up.
There is something really interesting in this testimony. Good Morning Denmark is a show that Jesper visited several times because it's the music industry. What is the only TV show that gave him a platform? Good Morning Denmark. pt2, I understand. Your team, are they journalists or are they giving favors to people they work with? Because he was the manager of one of the biggest artists. So maybe that's why you give favor between friends. This is still not journalism. I can see a pattern here. Christopher Erickson helping him. pt2 helping him. But no one know anyone. It's just a coincidence because it's a good story to tell. According to Podimo. That's really, really great. But like I said, I told you guys, that's why I asked you to stop what you were doing, because everything gonna go on the French court. All this conspiracy gonna go on the French court if no one stated publicly before it starts that you recognize that this is a PR work. This look like a PR work. Christopher Erickson knew Jesper by another person. Son Avenue, Son Venue, sorry, the boss know Jesper. They all know each other and will talk about it only people they know him. So, I'm going to tell you this. He made a call. He asked people to clean his name because there is a drug case. Remember, she was acquitted, first episode. But who put the drug there? What is the pattern with Christopher Erickson? He got a show about what? Drug case. It's on Podimo. Maybe Jesper is a source. Who knows? Maybe he knows people that can help him for his show. Who knows? But the justice, they need to find who is the owner of the drug. So guess what? My little opinion. You use a PR work so the public thinks you're the good guy. So the justice, what they're going to do, they're going to close the case. And you use your ex-wife to pretend that it might be her. She's not a good person, and you invent a whole story. That is journalism in Denmark in 2025. Oh, no. Two platforms, because the other didn't even talk about it. Because if it was a real thing, trust me, your whole country will talk about it in big newspaper. They know who is Christopher Erickson. And a lot of journalists know who he is, and no fact actually is using. He's using only hype. And the question is Christopher Erickson a journalist or just a con artist with a press card?
I also have to mention the funny part that how can you in a podcast say you don't know what MDMA look like, and then after in court admit to use MDMA and have the overdose?
No, not after. Sorry. He said after in the podcast, but way before recognized on court, on paper, that he knows what is MDMA. He already used it before. So because he wants to be so the perfect father, nothing in the Podimo podcast is about how he used drugs, or he was addicted, or he was alcoholic. None of it. Just to make the PR. That's why I say it's a PR. Because, guys, again, sue me so I can come with the document where he say clearly in Danish that he knows what is MDMA, that he used it, and he already did the OD. And you really saved his life. It's on record. Guys, I'm ready for that. But you know what? When you didn't sue me from the beginning, and you just write letter to my lawyers, because you know I got the truth. And I got the proof about what I'm saying. You destroy your life, that someone have to leave our country because you know you cannot use the court. The court will destroy you. It's not his first scandal, Christopher Erickson. He already built a career across line and calling it journalism. In 2013, he staged a fake public meeting in Denmark. Him and his team created a made-up organization called Asyl Denmark and invited a real citizen to discuss about asylum housing. None of it was true. It was all a lie. DRTV, they know it. A setup for the DRTV show called Absurdistan. DRTV fired him already. Everyone know it. But you still consider this guy as a good journalist. What a joke. When the truth came out, DR had to apologize publicly. There was article everyone know of in the press world about it. Everyone know it. Their own editor said they had crossed into the black zone, that no journalist should ever deceive real people for entertainment. He's an entertainer. He's not a journalist. So that means this podcast was an entertainment. It was absolutely not a true journalism. That's why when people say, if they said it, they probably verified it. No, it's like a TV show. They don't verify anything. Like, they didn't even send me a lawyer. They sent me the guy, how you say it, the law guy in the company. He's not lawyer. I verified. He's not lawyer. That's a joke. At least Jesper sent a real lawyer. He moved on and faced because for him, intention was currency. 2 years later, he did it again, live on Earth. In 2015, he killed a rabbit. He called it a provocation. He called it art. He later said he didn't regret it. Only that the method probably came to overshadow the promise. That says everything. He never cared about consequences, only attention. It's a buzz guy. It's like an influencer on the internet. That's all he is. What most people don't know is what happened after. The young woman who worked as an intern on the project, a journalist student, became the public face of the stunt. Again, and he got a problem with women apparently. She was the one who posed on the cover of Journalisten in November 2015, holding a rabbit for the photo shoot. The hate and harassment that followed hit her, not him. She later went down with stress after months of online abuse. That reminds me of a pattern. Again, online abuse against a woman, Yuli. Again, got a problem with women. That same rabbit on the cover was Yuli's children's pet. That's a funny coincidence, right? They wanted to portray they were not animal abusers, and Yuli borrowed them the rabbit to cover the cover shoot. And the funny part is, Yuli remembered it just recently. She was like, I know that Christopher Erickson. I know him. I don't know where, but I know him. Maybe he got something against her. The photographer was a friend of Yuli at that time, and Christopher knew exactly where the animal came from. He would known about Yuli long before the podcast ever existed. When journalists asked if he and his partner regretted it, the answer was simple. They did not. They said the matter probably came to official. No. It's a double. That who is a man who calls cruelty content, who had lies behind the word satires, and who's been rewarded for it again and again, because that's how it works. He performs, he provokes, he rewrites the story, and people believe him. And if he hurts anyone on the way, he don't care. But when she spoke up, she didn't do it for attention, Yuli. She stayed silent for a year, while he publicly mocked her and dismissed a medical confirmed brain injury as convenient. A record from American hospital in Paris and Danish specialist documented it, along with repeated reports of violence and concussions. We invent concussion. We do that in 2025. We invent concussion, and guess what? Doctors are so dumb in this world that they believe a fake concussion. You know X-ray exists? I don't know. I know if you know X-ray exists, some people they believe that, but if you know X-ray exists, I don't know. You don't connect your what you have in your brain to make the math. Ask yourself the right question.
Or bruises on your body.
No, because she probably did it for herself. She did it for herself,
Yes, that was one of the claims too.
Of course. Claim 8. She's only speaking to dig from him and his career, which is no career. I don't know what they're talking about. Or maybe his wife bought his shares. Maybe we'll come back one day. Some people say you are only speaking now because his career is falling apart. And that this is about revenge and trying to ruin him. What do you say to that? And again, another claim about revenge.
I am very revengeful. I can feel that. Uh, I laugh about it not because it's funny, but because it's in Danish it's called tragic, comic. Like it's tragic and funny at the same time. Tragikomisk in Danish. So my life was destroyed a very long time ago. Before his, I lost income, work, and meaning income, I get also the possibility to what we call care for and support my kids, which is also his kids. So I don't get the why he would do that to his own kid. Why would you make the other parent be so broke? So I don't eat when I don't have her. I didn't do that. I was super skinny because it was all about her. And sorry, I lost it. So yes, it was not because of the revenge, because I was ruined way before, and he already created the narrative about me. So if I wanted to take him down, I could have done it long before we were exposed. But I stay silent also when it cost me my jobs, my family, my network. He was out there shaping the story, like I repeated before, while I was silenced for many reasons we talked about. This is just a fun fact that the same platform that published him, Podimo, is also drowning in debt, around 500 million krona, that's around 67 million euro. They've been given a year to raise some money, and they even brought a very nice person from US, who is also happened to be friend with my ex-wife.
No, your ex-husband's wife.
Yeah,
It's
sorry.
important to say you don't have an ex-wife.
I don't have ex-wife. To help secure the funding. That is the level of desperation they're in now. So they definitely needed the noise instead of the truth. And
I think more than that, they needed to help him.
also that,
Yeah.
and it's not just me who noticed all this. We had a journalist contacting us, and she experienced the same with Christopher Eriksson. And he's no to chasing sensation without fact checking. And they also got removed from Spotify for the same reason, Podimo. So if people say I'm trying to ruin my ex now, reality is that his problem have nothing to do with me. Artists and former friends have contacted me themselves and also sent me screenshots of the messages, some threatening and manipulation and financial exploitation. They recognized the behavior also when they saw the documentary I made. So his current shitstorm with his artist, or former artist should I say, is not on me. And the accusations about him selling illegal songs and profiting from it is not me either. It's his pattern, the financial abuse. And yes, he took a lot of money from me and put me in a lot of debt. He took over 200,000 krona from me on top. He didn't pay his own kid kindergarten, but it was in my address and my name, and he told me he paid it. So I got a very big check from the state too, because he controlled my finance and my e-books, everything. I was not aware of it. That's a lot of money from you are 1 year till around 6 that I had to pay back. On top of lawyer's debt and move and harassments, like breaking my car over and over again on my bikes. And this is not a rumor, because he confirmed that he stole my money on text and emails, while he also threatened me in those texts. So my accountant caught it, too late unfortunately. So he contacted my ex-business partner that also own sound venue because he could see the money came from his company to my ex-company with invoices made in my name for my work.
Yeah, can you elaborate about that? Because I don't think people can really understand about the invoice company, all of that.
I first started my company in 2018. I can try to elaborate it. When you are in a violent relationship, you have no control over your finance. So when I had done a job, styling or DJ, whatever, he would send the invoice, but in my name and with my full name and the job done, and claim that he made the invoice for me, because then it was easier for him to have it all in one company. So I trusted him. I trusted him to pay the bills he promised, the tax he promised, and I never saw anything of those money.
Okay. So I barely...
No, he did what you call, my accountant have a word for it, I can't explain it in English, but his business partner have a company and then they have one company together.
Mm-hmm.
And the business partner, he made the invoices also.
Okay.
So they moved the money back and forth to their companies,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't go to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out that there was a lot of money on my bank statements. You can see where money come from. And when we compared it to the invoices, I missed a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So my accountant contacted the business partner, and he never contacted back, because if they claim to tax that I got those money, I will pay tax for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I never got the money, and we proved it.
Mm-hmm.
So we sent everything to tax because they wouldn't work with us. They wouldn't get back.
Yeah.
So we had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's the tax, and I don't know what will happen. It's not my problem anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I will never see those money again.
Mm. Okay.
So in total, it's about 1 million Danish kroner
Okay.
plus.
Okay.
I lost on all this. And that is like a classic psychopathic control over money.
Mm-hmm.
And you survive of lies, and you survive of other people. You use them, like drain them. So people confuse timing with motive. I did not destroy his career at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just correcting what he did to me.
Mm-hmm. So she stayed silent while he used platform against her. She lost income, work and safety years before he faced any consequences. That's why I called that podcast, They Made Me Leave My Country. When you live somewhere, you cannot, you lost money. And you finally get back on track. You have work. And your reputation is totally destroyed by the narrative from someone who knows exactly that you're going to be recognized. And was not me, Podimo. Recognized by the fact he was saying in it. And he went on TV also. And his shape is easy to recognize also. How you want her to stay in Denmark? She can't. She can't stay in Denmark. She can work. She can make money. She can stay in Denmark. So it was done on purpose. It was done on purpose. So when their daughter now got her mom far from her, do you think it's a behavior of someone that wants the good for his own kid? Destroy the money that you know that the mother can help the kid, can do things for the kid. It's him that is doing something for revenge. And then again, that as a wife, if you are his wife, tell me, someone that used so much energy against his ex-wife, is he still in love with her or what? What's going on? He cannot leave it alone? But that's a narcissist pattern. They need to keep control on things. And you know why he's not doing the same to the new wife? It's just because he needs her. He needs her. He needs her money. He needs her in his life because he's desperate.
Sorry to be that cruel, but when you're cruel to people, I do the same. His current fallout comes from his own actions, including illegal music sales, and he lost in court. Financial manipulation and repeat exploitation of others. Artists and co-workers approach her independently with documentation, not the other way around. Podimo, the platform that spread his version, is under massive financial pressure and has a history of click-driven publishing. Her motive isn't revenge, it's recovery from a lie that's been repeated. And again, you know it. The media don't need facts now. They need clickbait. And that's what they did. They did an intelligent clickbait. And they don't care if that destroys her life. The public will still buy it because also people are, sorry to say that, miserable. They need that type of story to don't feel themselves miserable, because when you are living in a small city and being violent to your wife and you need that type of story to feel like, oh, there is people that is worse than us. That's how the platform are. You know, last time I was in the Brøndby game, it's sorry to say what I'm going to say. Brøndby lost. A guy say in the public, a lot of white going to be beaten tonight. That was a Danish person that said that. And all the Danish, you know, that connection between the loss of the team and the number of women beaten the same night. And you dare say, he's the good guy, he did nothing. All the women that are listening to this right now, you know what I'm talking about. So far, we heard the 4 accusations most people believe without ever seeing a single document. Podimo didn't show anything. They're not a video thing. I'm a video person, I'm here. I don't show you anything for one reason. I'm going to tell you why. There is real name. And it's not because I'm scared to go to court, because I'm in France. I'm under the French jurisdiction. Guess what? As a media, I'm allowed to say all the name in France. If that can help the story, I'm allowed to say all the name. The only reason I don't do it is because of their daughter that I appreciate, because her life gonna be really ruined if I say the real name from everyone. See? Jesper, I still have a little compassion. But don't try me on this because my patience is tiny. And again, it's not a threat because you're going to send a lawyer again to say I threat you and your wife. We know this don't work. That racist thing don't work. But for a Nazi, maybe it works. Oops. She was bitter and out for revenge. She lost custody because she wasn't fit. She was lying for attention. She just wants to destroy his career. Now you see that this makes no sense. This makes no sense. But for every one of those claims collapses, the moment you look at the document, the legal history, the witnesses, and the timeline, and instead of correcting the damage, the platform involved protected the version that generated clicks and not the truth. They ran his narrative while she was gagged by active court cases, recovering from brain injury and paying off debt he left her with. She stayed silent, and they sold that silence as guilt. And also because they want the clickbait, because we have the email when they ask several times that they want to interview her to have her version. So they want to make even more money on the people they destroy. So see, she's a liar. That's what they say. I have a document, they say, she's a liar. I have a document that's documented as a country pressure against someone. That's also on the court in France. I have that. That's what I say. You're all in dipshit. You're all in dipshit. You say that. But at the same time, you're going to explain to a judge why you ask her to say a version if she's a liar and you have the truth she's a liar. And she has the truth because she tried to sell her thing to another media, but it didn't work with the screenshot you made. You brave guys. Are you good guys? That's the good work, guys. You made a meeting to do that, right? You had a meeting, you did that, you said we're gonna answer this and that with Christopher Erickson, a joke man. We said, yeah, we do it like this and like that, right? You're a joke thing, man. So that strategy is now over because you're gonna take back control on the situation. And trust me, the truth takes the stairs, like we all know. So after our truth gonna spread, y'all gonna explain how you're gonna make survive that platform that is in deep debt, that is a difficulty, and that needs 1 year before they collapse. I'm sorry for all you guys you work there. There is good people. You're gonna all be jobless. Better find a new job soon because that money will not come. I won't say how. All I'm gonna say is I'm black. You underestimated me. There is people I know in the financial world. You are in deep seeking of money, and the founder already gave you money. They don't trust your model. They can see your model don't work. But continue, guys. You're really funny. In the final episode, we look at the claim designed to bury her completely. The rumors about mental illness, manipulation, fraud, instability, and the extreme online harassment that still follows her today. The attacks didn't just come from him. They came from people around him, from the system that failed, from strangers online who repeated his words without questioning a thing. In episode 3, you'll hear how false narrative can enter a legal system before you even know it exists. Our friend, colleague, and official became part of the smear sometime without realizing it. And how she ended up in the French legal case that will expose everything that Mark ignored. You also hear the most vicious public comments, the ones meant to silence her permanently, and the truth behind them. This isn't the part people like to listen to. It's the part they need to. Because when lies don't destroy you, they escalate. And in episode 3, we name what escalation look like. And the final word is just to say, I was nice, she was nice, people were nice to tell you, stop it, remove it, remove the show before it's too late. And I'm gonna tell you something, because this podcast is in top 100 to top 200 in a lot of countries, thanks to you guys, like I told you. And thank you also to remove me from Podimo.com. Well appreciated. All I can say is, if you were a clever businessman, when you have someone that got the audience have, you know what I will do? I have a guy from a big hedge fund that wanted to help you actually, but he knows the story now, you know what? He said, they're really stupid. I will call you. I will say, hey, apparently you are good in the podcast in France. How we can deal together to have funds from France? And your company might be a little bit saved, and you will have someone that will bring the podcast from France, because we are 70 million people, a big market. And you could enter with a big door by just removing one show for someone who won't bring you anything on the table. Sorry to say that. Have a nice night. It's too late. Don't ask me to come.